Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 386 based on novel. So let's start. A third step cultivator that wanted to kill a small Nirvana Shatterer cultivator had suffered a small wound from the Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Wang Lin knew that if news of this spread out, it would be enough to shock everyone in the sealed realm and the outer realm. The third step was a legendary cultivation level. In the sealed realm, third step cultivators were extremely rare. Even in the outer realm, they were extremely rare. A third step cultivator could sweep the world and would even dare to battle heaven itself. They were like the emperors among cultivators. All cultivators were like ants before them and could be easily wiped out. A Nirvana Shatterer cultivator could be a teacher in a sect, and a Heaven's Blight cultivator could be a high elder, but before a third step cultivator, they were all like ants that could be killed at will. This was strength, this was the cruel truth of the cultivation world. The law of the jungle. If Wang Lin was a third step cultivator, Water would have been extremely cautious with his desire to kill him. He most likely wouldn't have chosen to fight at all and instead would have invited Wang Lin as an esteemed guest. Then the two would sit down and trade for what they wanted. If Wang Lin was a third step cultivator, he could have swept through the Alliance, Cloud Sea, and all heaven. Even Master Lu Fu would be very polite and would show respect, neither side would provoke the other. Strength was everything, and it was the key to surviving in this cruel cultivation world. I underestimated you, little ant, but the more you struggle, the more this old man wants to kill you. The ancient voice echoed throughout the world like thunder. The fog tumbled violently as a boy wearing a Daoist robe walked out. This boy had a head of white hair, but his skin was white and clear. When he came out, his gaze fell on Wang Lin below. Third step cultivators rarely appeared in person, as they could merge with the world and create a third step avatar anywhere. Only life and death battles between third step cultivators would cause them to fight in their real bodies. But Water had unexpectedly come in his real body. This obviously showed his will to kill Wang Lin, but also showed how cautious and important he thought of this matter. He was worried that Wang Lin was really the reincarnation of his master. He was worried that Wang Lin had heaven-defying treasures. The moment the white-haired boy walked out of the fog, killing intent erupted from Wang Lin's eyes. He was waiting for this moment, waiting for the enemy to reveal their true body. I can't think about that chance of survival I predicted, or I'll have a fallback plan and there won't be that fierceness in my heart. As a result, I'll without a doubt die. Only by putting my back against the wall and throwing away my life can I obtain peak power. Wang Lin revealed a ferocious and crazed expression. He cut off all thoughts of retreat and pushed himself into a dead end. In truth, the moment the white-haired boy appeared, he was already at a dead end. The moment the white-haired boy came out of the fog, Wang Lin waved his hands and let out a roar. If you want to kill me, you will have to pay a price. As Wang Lin roared, he flew into the air once more without retreating. Just at this moment, the 100 continents around Wang Lin began to roar and a bloodlight shined. Endless blood tattoos flew out. They completely filled the area, and it was impossible to calculate how many there were. As Wang Lin roared, the blood-colored tattoos flew at the white-haired boy, carrying with them the power to destroy the heavens. The howling was horrifying. Every single blood tattoo was formed by the blood essence of a fierce beast. They also contained Tao intent unique to the beasts in the Cloud Sea, causing the power of the blood tattoos to be far more powerful than ones refined in the other star systems. As they flew at the white-haired boy, the sky was dyed red, and a thunderous howl covered the sky. You know the Tattoo Clan spell, but this spell is useless against this old man. Water's expression was neutral, and the moment the boundless tattoos closed in, he casually waved his right hand. Carefree Tao collapse. Water's voice was calm, but it gave the illusion that a god was roaring. His voice became more intense as it spread out like crazy. All the blood tattoos that collided with the invisible sound wave collapsed and couldn't get near Water Daoist at all. The collapse was endless, just like the amount of blood tattoos. A thunderous rumble echoed and the entire Rank 5 region trembled violently. There was a tearing sound as a spatial crack split the Rank 5 region in half. Tattoos turn into blood. Wang Lin's hands formed a seal and he spat out a mouthful of blood. This blood had a demonic glow, and the moment it appeared, all the blood from the collapsed tattoos gathered. In an instant, the blood before him gave off a bright red light and charged forward, breaking all spells in its path as it shot toward Daoist water. However, as the blood closed in, one gaze from Daoist Dao caused it to collapse. At this moment, the white-haired boy reached out and one drop of blood stopped collapsing. It quickly flew into the boy's hand. The white-haired body held that drop of blood and swallowed it, then his eyes began to shine. Not his reincarnation. The collapse of the blood tattoos wasn't outside of Wang Lin's expectations. His 10 million sword shadows were able to leave a small wound. However, now that the other party had used third-step spells, all other spells would collapse. The Tattoo Clan spell was still a spell, so it naturally would have no effect. But this was exactly what Wang Lin wanted. As the blood collapsed and the tattoos were destroyed, the world was almost completely dyed red. At this moment, Wang Lin waved his hand and shouted, "Restriction Dao." A restriction wasn't a spell, it was formed from a strand of aura from ancient times that turned into its own Dao. In particular, Wang Lin had fused the 3 great restrictions, almost reaching the origin of restrictions. At this moment, the 100 wild continents began to shake and rapidly rotated under Wang Lin's control, smashing toward Daoist water. Annihilation restriction, seal the world. Life and death restriction, seal the body. Time restriction, seal the origin soul. 3 great restrictions as one, seal. 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 Seal your world, seal your body, and seal your origin soul. Wang Lin pointed forward. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Aside from the wild continent under Wang Lin, all of the other wild continents circled around Daoist water, creating a formation. A powerful pressure appeared and crushed down on Daoist water. The restrictions on these 100 wild continents that had been suppressed this whole time erupted. The annihilation restriction burst out, forming a giant cage that trapped the world. The life and death restriction formed 2 auras, one of life and one of death. They surrounded the white-haired boy, forming the life and death restriction. The time restriction had reversed 5,000 years due to Wang Lin's flowing time spell. Now it erupted with an ancient aura that shrouded the white-haired boy's origin soul. As Wang Lin spoke, the 3 great restrictions suddenly erupted. 3 great restrictions. Unfortunately, the 4th restriction isn't present, or it might have had some power. Daoist Water's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand once more. With a wave of his hand, the world collapsed. The carefree Dao collapse he had just used hadn't dissipated, and the wave caused its power to reach a peak. It could collapse all living things in this world. The endless collapse echoed like crazy, causing cracks to appear on the 100 wild continents, and in the blink of an eye, they started collapsing one by one. It took a lot of power to collapse 100 wild continents, it was something only third-step cultivators could do. However, although the wild continents were collapsing, the 3 great restrictions were absorbing the blood left from the blood tattoos. The restrictions formed an octagon and sealed the white-haired body inside. The 3 restrictions could seal the world, the flesh, and the origin soul, but they couldn't seal the soul, because they were lacking the last restriction to truly fuse into one. However, Wang Lin was very smart. He had used the blood of the countless beast tattoos destroyed by this white-haired boy to dye the restriction. This allowed it so contain soul and show signs of a deformed completion. The spell of a mere ant. Even if you use the blood to complete it, it is still useless. The white-haired boy took a step forward and no longer used any spells. Instead, he forced his way forward. He had reached the 3rd step and had completed his law. Where there was law, spells couldn't stop him. As he walked forward, the world seemed to create a path for him. Even the fusion of 3 restrictions trembled as no spells could stop him. The time restriction broke first, no longer sealing his origin soul. Then the life and death restriction collapsed, no longer sealing his body. Finally, the annihilation restriction dissipated, no longer sealing the world. Although those 3 great restrictions were destroyed because they weren't spells or laws, the white-haired paused for just an instant. Everything Wang Lin had done was for this pause. Wang Lin's pupils shrank, his hair became disheveled, and his eyes turned bloodshot as he roared, God-slaying war chariot. The spear on the war chariot formed by the thunder beast shot out as a ray of light toward Daoist water. It was powerful, and as it flew through the air, it split the rank 5 region. After the spear, the 7 thorns from the 7-colored war chariot formed a rainbow that condensed and shot at Daoist water. At this moment, all law collapsed before these god-slaying war chariots. Laws couldn't stop them, the world couldn't stop them, no power could stop these 2 god-slaying war chariots. This was the real god-slaying war chariot. It had the power to slay the gods. Daoist water's expression changed for the first time. The god-slaying war chariots were refined by the well-known refining madman of the celestial realm. He was still looking for materials to complete them when the celestial realm collapsed. During the calamity, he died with monstrous regret. He had spent everything he had learned and cultivated on producing these war chariots. He didn't hesitate to travel the world to find materials and spend all his effort, causing his endless lifespan to rapidly wither. Near the end, he was white-haired and almost out of vitality. Even if the calamity hadn't come, he would have died after the god-slaying war chariots were complete. His dream was to create the strongest treasure in the world. To kill even the gods, to destroy law, and split the world open. His regret was left in the jade, and in the end it fell in Wang Lin's hands. Today, at this moment, it was in Wang Lin's hand that it revealed its terrifying power to destroy the gods. Even though Daoist water had lived for tens of thousands of years, even though he was the disciple of the Lord of the Sealed Realm, even though he was the head elder of the God sect, he couldn't have known about everything that happened in the 4 celestial realms. Let alone a celestial that had made a heaven-defying treasure that could threaten third-step cultivators. It's not a nirvana void treasure. It is impossible to figure out its rank. This? What kind of treasure is this? The white-haired boy's expression changed. He was here to kill Wang Lin, and he was 100% certain he would. The only thing he was worried about was the heaven-defying bead. He didn't think Wang Lin would have this kind of terrifying treasure. There wasn't time for him to think as the spear from the thunder beast broke through the sky. It split the rank 5 region in half and charged straight at Daoist water. There was no howling sound, only an indescribable killing intent. It was as if the spear had its own will. Once it flew out, it had to kill. After entering the 3rd step, Daoist water had rarely used his full power to fight an enemy. However, at this moment, he revealed a serious expression. The moment the spear closed in, he waved his hands before his body. His right hand formed a claw and mercilessly slashed forward. Carefree slicing Dao. As Water Daoist's words echoed across the world, his right hand seemed to form the strongest slicing Dao. As he waved, popping sounds echoed, and it even felt like the void before him was being sliced up. The collapsed void suddenly expanded in a jagged shape and spread out. The popping sounds instantly reached a limit and echoed across the world like a roar. It quickly collided with the spear, creating a deafening roar. This violent roar quickly spread across the rank 5 and 6 regions. Countless cultivators coughed out blood, their eyes filled with horror. The spear was surrounded by the jagged void. Thunder rumbles echoed, becoming louder and louder. The sound of friction spread out, and it was extremely sharp. When it entered Wang Lin's ears, it made him bleed from his orifices, as if his body was being cut up. Intense pain filled his body and he quickly retreated while coughing out blood. Water Daoist's eyes became even more serious and shined brightly. He raised his right hand up and mercilessly sliced down. Carefree cutting blade, destroy all laws. A thunder boom echoed and a giant crack appeared before Water Daoist. This crack had an irregular shape, as if it separated the heavens and earth. The moment it appeared, it shot forward. Everything it passed by was cut in half. In an instant, it closed in on the spear and mercilessly swept by. Rumble, 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 rumble. As the thunderous rumble echoed, the last wild continent Wang Lin was on collapsed into countless pieces. His face was pale and blood was spewing out from many parts of his body, he was covered in blood. As for the spear, It trembled as the spatial crack passed and then was split in half. It was forced in half by Water Daoist's spell. After destroying the spear, Water Daoist didn't relax at all. His eyes became even more serious. After the spear collapsed, a ray of 7-colored light shot out toward Daoist Water. This was the third god-slaying war chariot, the strongest of the 3 war chariots. This bright, 7-colored light was what Daoist Water was really worried about. He felt like it was somewhat terrifying. The 7-colored light was too fast, and for the first time, Daoist Water retreated 3 steps as he waved his right hand. The spatial crack swept by and was about to cut the 7-colored light. However, the moment the crack touched the 7-colored light, the crack began to rapidly shrink. It took an instant for it to completely close as if it was never there. This sudden change caused Daoist Water's expression to change greatly, and he retreated a few more steps. His hands formed seals as his eyes lit up and he spat out a cloud of fog. This fog was black, and an earth-shattering roar came from inside. There were 9 large and hideous ghosts inside. They immediately charged out at the 7-colored light and roared. Every single ghost was equal to the full power of a third heaven's blight cultivator. Forget the 2 carefree Dao spells, just these 9 ghosts would allow him to do as he wished in any star system, rarely meeting any resistance on the way. At this moment, these 9 ghosts let out hideous roars and closed in to devour the 7-colored light. They trembled as the 7-colored light shined brightly. The 9 ghosts let out mournful screams and quickly retreated, not daring to stop it. 2 of the ghosts that were too slow were slammed by the 7-colored light. They immediately disintegrated into large amounts of origin energy and dissipated. Daoist Water's expression was gloomy as he retreated once more. His hands formed seals again as he used another spell. At this moment, Wang Lin's face was pale, but killing intent filled his eyes. With a wave of his right hand, the trident appeared and his body quickly grew into an ancient god thousands of feet tall. He took a step forward and threw the trident at Daoist Water. As he moved forward, his left hand formed a seal and pointed at the sky. Colder wind suddenly appeared, turning into black dragons. As the destructive wind grew, the black dragons turned into a heaven-piercing spear that charged at Daoist Water. Summon the rain also appeared. The raindrops turned into ice swords that shot out. At the same time, Magic Arsenal activated, and the celestial sealing print flew out from inside Wang Lin's mouth. Countless battle souls appeared and a series of mournful roars echoed. They charged at Daoist Water under the lead of Master Void and the All-Seer. Mountain Crumble also appeared as Wang Lin moved forward and roared with his footsteps. Illusory volcanoes erupted one by one, releasing heaven-shattering destructive power. Daoist Water didn't care about any of this at all. The only thing he cared about was the 7-colored light that was charging at him like crazy. His hands formed a seal and he closed his eyes. He opened his eyes an instant later. The moment he opened his eyes, his gaze seemed to turn solid and landed on the 7-colored light. There was a bang and then a heaven-shaking impact spread out. The moment Daoist Water looked at the 7-colored light, 1 color collapsed. However, the other 6 didn't, and they closed in like crazy. Water Daoist closed his eyes and opened them once more. In a short period of time, he closed and opened his eyes several times. Rumble, 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 rumble. This no-name spell caused some of the 7 lights to suddenly collapse, leaving only 3 colors. It was now only 100 feet away. With its speed, it couldn't even be described as an instant. At this moment of danger, Daoist Water's eyes revealed a strange light and her said, "Stop spell." The moment those words appeared, he stopped the heavens, he stopped the earth, he stopped all laws, he stopped all movement, he stopped all spells, and he stopped all living things. At this instant, all the spells Wang Lin had used paused in the void, even his body stopped. His eyes were filled with shock. All the origin energy inside his body seemed to have stopped and he wasn't able to move even an inch. The only 3 colors left, red, yellow, and blue, released a thunderous rumble as if someone was pulling the reins on countless wild horses. They struggled fiercely before they completely stopped 30 feet before Daoist Water. What a powerful treasure! Unfortunately, There is obviously still one seal left, otherwise, even with my early stage Nirvana Void cultivation, I would have been injured. Even more, this old man was forced to use the stop spell. Loser, how, for you to be able to do this, you can be considered a heavenly genius. Nirvana Void, Spirit Void, Arcane Void, and Void Turbulent. The third step has 4 realms. Only after reaching the Spirit Void stage would I not be injured by this treasure once completely activated. Deoistwater's eyes lit up. This god-slaying god chariot shocked him a bit. If not for the fact that he knew a spell that didn't belong to this world, it might have been an issue. Although he wouldn't have died, he would have suffered injuries before he could kill this Liu Zihao. And as a third-step cultivator, to suffer the counterattack of an ant was a disgrace. You don't have the right to use this treasure, so this old man will take it. Deoistwater waved his sleeves and a vortex appeared between his eyebrows. The moment it appeared, it rushed out and devoured the red, yellow, and blue rays of light. The cultivation level difference between the two was like an uncrossable gully. Wang Lin looked at all of this, stunned, but there was an unwilling flame burning inside his heart. I'm unwilling. I still have 3 more killing aces. Even if I die, I want this person to pay an unrecoverable price. At this moment, in the Wind Celestial Realm, the endless wind continued to flow through the realm. This gave the whole realm a desolate feeling as the wind howled, and this sense of desolation was so strong that it wouldn't dissipate at all. Herds of mosquito beasts moved with the wind. They were the only masters of the Wind Celestial Realm. In the deepest part of the Wind Celestial Realm, there were 3 floating continents, and one of them was dark red. The smell of blood lingered in the air as countless mosquito beasts floated in the sky, buzzing. There was a stone human statue on this dark red continent. At this moment, the stone person's eyes began to move and opened, revealing his ancient eyes. A strange aura slowly spread out from this person, but, strangely, it didn't attract the attention of the mosquito beasts. It was as if this stone person didn't exist in their eyes. How can that Deoistwater kill a piece I spent so much effort to place? The eyes of the stone man shined and he let out a cold snort. However, by borrowing his power, I can see if that child is really the reincarnation of that old man sealed realm lord, or if the heaven-defying bead is really in this child's hands. The wind of the celestial realm became even stronger. A wisp of wind flew out from the celestial realm's door and disappeared among the stars. The vortex between Deoistwater's eyebrows devoured the 3 rays of light and then he closed his eyes for a moment to absorb them. When he opened his eyes, there were red, yellow, and blue lights rotating in them. It was a shocking scene. His stop spell was very different from Wang Lin's. At that moment, he stopped the world, and he was the only thing left. All the spells stopped in the air but, strangely enough, didn't dissipate. It was as if without this white-haired boy's will, they would just linger there for tens of thousands of years. The spear formed by summon the wind floated in the air motionlessly. Even the destructive wind surrounding it stopped. The ice crystal swords formed by summon the rain stopped in the air. They looked like icicles floating in the air. There were still the countless battle souls from Magic Arsenal, including Master Void and the All-Seer. They all just floated motionlessly. Some of the many illusory volcanoes that had appeared before were previously giving off black smoke and magma had begun to flow out of them. However, at this moment, the black smoke was still and the magma had stopped. Everything had stopped, including Wang Lin, who was stepping through the void above the black smoke. Wang Lin was still holding the trident tightly in his hand. 6 of Thunder Celestial by Fan's triple celestial spell. If this Li Zihao had learned them all, it might have been a bit difficult to kill him. Even if he had just learned Dark Moon, Clear Skies, this would have been a bit difficult. However, compared to Dark Moon, Clear Skies, these are all mere tricks. Water Deoist shook his head and no longer paid attention to Wang Lin. Instead, he arrived next to the god-slaying war chariot formed by the Thunder Beast. His gaze swept the god-slaying war chariot and he let out a cold snort. He raised his right hand and smashed down, causing the war chariot to collapse. The Thunder Beast was destroyed while still frozen. There are too many flaws with this treasure. Since I don't need it, I'll destroy it. Daoist Water was extremely arrogant and had a rather eccentric personality. He liked to destroy things other people treasured, provided they were useless to him. As a third-step cultivator at the early stage of Nirvana Void, Daoist Water was indeed qualified to do this. When the war chariot formed by the Thunder Beast collapsed, Wang Lin's eyes filled with sorrow. The pain in his heart turned into a boundless invisible flame that burned inside his body. However, it was all trapped inside his body. The grief caused 2 lines of blood tears to flow from his eyes. The god-slaying war chariot had accompanied him for a long time, but now it was destroyed. The cry in his heart set off like a storm as he stared at Daoist Water with a gloomy gaze. If I, Wang Lin, don't die from this calamity, I swear I'll kill this person. I must kill this person. I'll make him endure all kinds of torment before death. If I don't fulfill this oath, then let me be destroyed on the heaven-defying path. Daoist Water's gaze swept past Wang Lin. His favorite thing to do was look at someone when their powerful treasures were destroyed. That look of anger made him feel powerful. It made him feel the dignity he had lost many years ago. Seeing Wang Lin's gaze, Daoist Water felt even more pleased as he thought that Wang Lin was the owner of the heaven-defying bead and his master's descendant. While walking forward, Daoist Water arrived next to the 7-colored god-slaying war chariot. His eyes revealed a strange light as he waved his sleeve to take it away. However, there was a flash of light and the 7-colored butterfly appeared. The butterfly flapped its wings and dissipated into specks of light. When it dissipated, the 7-colored god-slaying chariot became an ordinary object. The treasure spirit would rather self-destruct than be taken by this old man. Daoist Water's eyes flashed cold as he raised his hand and smashed down. The god-slaying war chariot with the treasure spirit was torn apart. Now let me see if you have the heaven-defying bead. Daoist Water let out a cold snort and turned around to look at Wang Lin. At this moment, it felt like the world was trembling and all the stars had dissipated. Wang Lin and Daoist Water were the only 2 people left. His gaze contained a powerful penetrating force when it landed directly on Wang Lin. At this instant, Wang Lin's body suddenly trembled. He felt like his body was being torn apart. Even his origin soul and soul felt like they were being pierced. All the secrets in his body were clearly revealed before this gaze. The intense pain caused the veins on Wang Lin's face to bulge. His body strained and sweat fell down like rain. However, he couldn't make a sound, as all of it was confined inside his body. Daoist Water swept Wang Lin's body inch by inch. In particular, he carefully examined Wang Lin's origin soul, and he gradually frowned. Nothing's there? Master said that the heaven-defying bead will merge with the origin soul, but his origin soul doesn't have the heaven-defying bead. He isn't Master's reincarnation, nor does he have the heaven-defying bead. Did I get the wrong person? Daoist Water frowned as he arrived next to Wang Lin. He raised his hand and chopped down. A thunderous roar echoed and a spatial crack opened. It was Wang Lin's storage space. Daoist Water used his shocking cultivation to easily open Wang Lin's storage space. His divine sense swept inside. If this storage space doesn't have heaven-defying bead, I'll search his soul. There was a flash of coldness in Daoist Water's eyes as he searched Wang Lin's storage space. There are many low-rank things, but all of them are trash. Collapse. Thunderous rumbles echoed inside Wang Lin's storage space. All treasures that were looked at by Daoist Water collapsed into ashes. As he swept through, his eyes narrowed when saw Shuligua inside Wang Lin's storage space. This is an interesting sword spirit. But it's still trash. Under his gaze, Shuligua's body trembled, and he was about to use his flattery skills. However, before he could, the old man's destructive will descended. Just as the will was about to destroy Shuligua, Daoist Water was suddenly shocked and moved toward Shuligua. He immediately locked onto what he saw, which was a boundless group of mosquito beasts. Although they were in another storage space, it was connected to this one, so Daoist Water was immediately able to see them. This many giant mosquito beasts. Daoist Water was surprised, and his divine sense swept once more. This time he saw a coffin giving off a silver glow. There was a sleeping woman inside the coffin. Not everything inside his storage space is trash. He even has the Lightning Celestial Emperor's heaven-avoiding coffin. This heaven-avoiding coffin is a good treasure and is useful to me. Daoist Water split a portion of his divine sense toward the coffin and was about to take it, along with the woman inside. Just at this instant, Wang Lin's body trembled violently and his eyes revealed a never-before-seen madness. His bottom line wasn't the heaven-defying bead, his ancient god body, or the secrets in his soul, but this coffin, the woman inside this coffin. Eh? Water Daoist paused for a moment and noticed Wang Lin's abnormality. There was a flash of mockery in his eyes. You seem infatuated. This woman must be very important to you. I originally wanted to take this woman's body out later, but now I'll take her out in front of you. Rumor has it that a body not taken out from the heaven-avoiding coffin correctly will perish completely. Let's see if this rumor is true. Daoist Water's divine sense moved and surrounded the coffin to open it. His divine sense split off into many parts, looking for the heaven-defying bead. Just as he was about to open the heaven-avoiding coffin, one of his divine senses trembled as it saw the woman in silver inside the storage space. The moment his divine sense arrived, the woman in silver opened her eyes and her gaze collided with Daoist Water's divine sense. You are, even with Daoist Water's mental fortitude and status as a third-step cultivator, his expression unexpectedly changed. There was a hint of panic and his mind became a mess. While his mind was a mess, an indescribably powerful force erupted from Wang Lin's body and his eyes became filled with monstrous killing intent. The moment Daoist Water was going to open the coffin, he devoured the blood he had refined from the iron sword that for some reason wasn't discovered by Daoist Water. Borrowing this destructive aura, his body rumbled. With this explosion of power, his imprisoned body gained some mobility. Seven-colored nail. Wang Lin let out a heaven-shaking roar. From an area in his storage space Daoist Water hadn't searched yet came a seven-colored light. The seven-colored nail shot out toward Daoist Water's divine sense. A thunderous rumble echoed and Daoist Water's expression changed greatly. The seven-colored nail was too fast as it pierced through his divine sense and shot toward the area between his eyebrows. Daoist Water was very close to Wang Lin. The moment he saw the seven-colored nail, his pupils violently shrank. Sovereign's seven-colored God Void Nail. You have this. This video will end here.